Hi everyone, I'm Tom and today I'm going to be playing The Colonists, the epic strategy game. And this game is definitely quite epic in its scale. You can't really tell from all of the things I've got laid out here. I've got enough laid out for 2 eras. I'm honestly not sure how many I'm going to do because let's see how long it takes. Let's just see how it goes. So in this game we have been tasked by the Emperor to build a prosperous community. And this means not only getting people to come to our community, we should actually have 2 people in our communities. We've got 2 farmers there. So we don't just need to make people come here, we need to give them jobs. This game is all about kind of building buildings, managing resources, and getting your people employed somewhere and getting them to, produce useful things, of course. But we will see all of these different things along the way. So as I said, the game consists of eras. There's 4 eras built into the base game. It does kind of hint that there might be more eras in future expansions, but there are 4 for now. In the first era, we do a few things to set up, but I've already done most of it. We have these place tiles here. Now these are kind of drawn from a stack like this at the start of the game. We lay out the market and then one by one each tile is put out one at a time by each player, and obviously when you don't know the game you will just make a kind of random board. I've played the game twice now, so I'm not too sure what we're doing. The first time we did it, we just kind of randomly put it out and it was terrible because the resources were miles away and you had to go through the buildings to get to the resources. It was a nightmare, but this is hopefully an okay setup and we will be building this board as we go along. At the end of every year, there is going to be 3 more places added to this board and it will grow and grow and grow, and it becomes enormous if you play the full 4 era game. So what do we need to do to set up the era? We need to add the second market. Well, that's done in the setup of the game actually. Shuffle the market cards, we've got them here. We have 7 market cards for each era in the game. You shuffle them, remove 2, and you've got the 5 for your 5 years of the era. Then shuffle the improvements, they are just off to the side there. And shuffle the places, that's what these are here. These are the Era 1 places. Now there are going to be 3 put out every year for the first 4 years. There's none put out at the end of the 5th year. So there's always going to be the same places, but the order they come out can really change the game up because, for example, there are places in Era 1 that are going to provide clay. Now, we have had a game where they didn't come out until almost the very last year. They may have come out in years 3 and 4, the 2 places that provide clay. And as more things come out needing clay, it can really, hold you back. Because the only place you can get clay at the moment is this space here that gives you 1. And that's not really going to cut it later in the game. Oh, and one final thing I'll mention before we actually get started. I am playing a 2-player game here. I'm playing against Little Glass Marty there. If you are interested in the solo version, because the game does support 1 to 4 on the box, the solo version isn't quite ready, I think they said, or they're going to come up with scenarios or something's happening with the solo version. For now, it's just kind of play the game as normal, but just, try and beat your best score. There's not going to be anyone blocking you. That's the thing in this game where it's not blocking, it's not purposefully, but there are going to be people left on the board, and through our actions, if you want to use a space that somebody else's piece is on, you're going to have to pay them a fee, which gets very expensive as the eras go by. So in the solo game, you're going to be missing that, and some of the colonies that we'll see later have powers that specifically interact with people, or maybe their power is to disregard that fee. Obviously, they're going to be less powerful in a game where you're just playing by yourself. So if you are interested in solo, then this should hopefully give you an idea of what the game's like anyway, even though it's a 2-player game. You can just imagine that Marty isn't there. So what do we do in The Colonists? Well, at the start of a new era, we turn that card face up, carry it out. Each era consists of 5 years. Then we are at the start of the first year. So we turn a market card face up. And this market card defines 3 things that can happen on a market. If we go to a market to do an action, and you have to, a big rule in this game is if you move to a space, you have to do the action. You can't just move through the space to get to somewhere else. You have to do the thing that is on the space, unless you have some powers we might see later. But if you go to the market, you'll have a choice of 3 different things, and all of the market cards are like this. The types of goods that you'll need, or maybe the activity at the bottom will be different, but there will always be these three things. There will be a choice of goods to sell, and you can do this as many times as you want. So if you land on a market and pick this action, you can sell as many food as you like for a money each, as many bricks as you like for 3 money each. Or instead of selling anything, you can grab 2 wood or 2 clay, or you can go to the joiner and you can convert 2 wood into planks. And this is like the joiner that's on the board here. But you'll see the difference is you can only do it once if you go on the market space. Whereas if you go to any space with these kind of conversion actions, you can do them as many times as you want, as many times as you can afford. So I have started the game with 3 wood because I have something in mind. I am going to start off, you pick a market to start off at, but it doesn't count as a turn. You're going to have 3 turns, and then that's the end of the half year. Then everyone else gets 3 turns, and then the half year's over. Then we have another half year, which is exactly the same, 3 turns in a row for each player. Then all sorts of things will happen at the end of the year. So now I've turned the market card face up. The last thing to do is turn 3 places face up. And this is where we are seeing what's coming up and we can kind of prepare for the goods that we need. So there we go. There's a tile that lets us get clay, which will be useful later. So I'm going to start on this market here. My first action is going to be to go to the builder. Now you see there's a lot of different kinds of builder, but they all do a specific thing. They will all build a certain thing. So this builder here needs the storage shed, and he can do it up to 3 times because that's the limit of storage sheds. You see over here, we've only got space for 3 things. Usually when you go to a builder, you'll see there's no 3x or 1x or whatever. You can build as many times as you want, but in the early game, you'll see we haven't really got the capacity to be able to build many things at a time. So we have the builder here. I'm going to go on that, and I need to spend a tool and 2 wood for every storage shed that I want to build. Now, I would love to build 3 right now, but as you can see, I start the game with 3 storage spaces. That is it. Goods can only come from your storage. I do have this warehouse space, and at any time before or after my action, I can swap things between the warehouse and the storage. But for any action I'm taking, your stuff has to come from basic storage, and this is really, really important, especially as the game goes on. Because a huge part of this game is managing your storage. And this is why I've come here first, because I want storage space. So I start with 6 tools. I'm going to spend 1, and I'm going to spend 2 of my starting 3 wood, and I get a storage shed, which gives me 2 more spaces, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you only start with 3, 5 makes a big difference. It opens doors. So when you build something new, you have the opportunity, and you can do this any time as well, you have the opportunity to employ somebody. You see that the storage shed needs a farmer to work on it in the corner there. I start the game with 2 farmers, and when they're at their farms, they're doing nothing. These are their residences. I know that farmers may work on a farm, but in this case, they're lazing around when they're at a farm. If you want to put them to work, you need to send them to the storage shed. And it's important as well, because if there is nobody working at the storage shed, you can't store anything in it. So I'm going to place him here just so he's out of the way. And now I can use these 2 storage spaces. I've also scored myself 2 points for the end of the game, as well as 2 more points because there is a farmer employed. And every farmer that's got a job at the end of the game is worth 2 points. So that was all 1 turn. So now I can move anywhere from this space. So I can move to any of these 3 tiles. I only have range 1, and it's a lot later on that your range gets increased unless there's a specific colony out, but there isn't yet. We'll get to the colonies when we come to them. At any time, though, you can jump to a market. There wouldn't be much sense in jumping to this one because I'm right next to it anyway. But I could jump straight to this one and then start moving to these places. And that can be really important later on when the board gets huge and you're going to have to, go along a ton of spaces before you get to where you want. If you jump to the market, though, that is one of your turns. It only doesn't count as a turn when you're first entering a market at the very start of the game. And if I went to the market, I'd have to do one of these 3 things. I think the next thing I'd like to do is grab 2 wood from this riverbank grove here. So it's very simple what it does, just gives you 2 wood. And I can put them in my storage. And finally, for my third turn, I'm going to go to this builder and I am going to build 2 farms. So I need 2 tools, 2 wood, and I'll just grab 2 farms from the stacks there. And the farms come with farmers. And there we go, I've got some more workers for later on, because the first era is very much, it seems like there's a lot to do here, but really you're just gearing up for later in the game. When you're playing a game that's just one era, as our first game was just 2 eras, it seems like there's a lot going on. But as you play further and further into the game, you see that really you were just preparing for what's coming later on. And I want workers for when we have more and more buildings to employ them in. I will mention right now as well that this dark area here on the map is not buildable. You can only build on this light area here. And you can see I've used up almost a full row already just on these farms and things. So there is 3 actions. I went to the builder and got a storage shed. I got 2 more wood, and then I got 2 more farms. I could have got another one, but I'd like to save 1 wood for later. So that is the end of the half year for me. Now we turn to Marty, who is in the exact same situation, although he's got slightly different plans to me. His first action is going to be the same and build a storage shed, which you might think, oh, that's a shame that he's doing the exact same thing, but it's really necessary for doing a lot of things. If you want to build something that needs more than 3 resources, you're going to need some kind of storage. So that costs him a tool and 2 wood, and he gets the storage shed, places it as I did, and now he has the farm there. His second action is going to be to grab 2 wood, which it's looking very samey here, isn't it? But now, even if Marty had wanted to go to the builder to build some farms, he doesn't, by the way, but if he had wanted to go there, he would first have to pay me a food or a tool and a building resource, which in this case would be wood, since that's all he had, and he doesn't want to do that. That's a complete waste of things, especially since that is going to be free next turn, because there's one thing about movement I haven't mentioned, because we haven't started our turn on a tile. There's a very important rule that you have to end up on another place than where you started. So there's no just blocking off a tile for permanently. But for his third action anyway, he is going to move to the market, and he's going to come to the middle of the section and grab 2 clay. He's got just enough room in his storage shed. And that is his 3 actions. So we've both had 3 turns. So we move over to winter now. We're in the second half year. And nothing happens in between the half years. But now I get 3 actions. Okay, I am going to go to the Riverbank Grove here and grab 2 wood. Then I'm going to go to the market and get 2 more wood. So I am fully loaded up on wood and nothing else. But then finally, I'm going to go to the builder and I'm going to build 2 more storage sheds. So I have 1 tool left and I spend 4 of my wood. And now I have a lot of storage space, although I am running out of workers already. So that was 3 actions for me. Marty is going to use his first action to go to the diplomat. And this is where colonies come into the game. Now in setup, you randomly shuffle the colony cards and you pick 4. And each player can establish relations with each of these colonies and get various powers that are all, to be honest, crazy. They are all ridiculous powers. So in Era 1, we can only build the first level of relations with each colony. So we'll just focus on that for now. So now Marty's gone here. It's going to cost him 1 tool, 3 wood, and 2 clay. You'll see it's the same for every colony. It's going to cost him that to build the first level embassy there. So his options are the Lord Colony. This will let him ignore a place's action and take a good instead. His choice is wood or clay, and this can be amazing for moving around because, as I said earlier, you have to use the action of a place. So you can't just move over a builder and kind of waste a turn and go to where you want it to go, you have to use the builder if you're walking on him. In this case, you could step on that builder and just grab something instead and not worry about it. And later on, he's going to let you ignore the fee, swap tiles around the board, all sorts of crazy things. But for now, he would let you ignore a places action and grab a wood or a clay instead. The trader gives you an alternative market action. So you see the three options when we go to a market usually. If he established a relationship with the trader colony, his market action could be exchange any number of one type of good for another. So for the first level, he could take any amount of food and exchange it for the same amount of clay, which could be really powerful. And later on, it gets to the better and better goods. The alchemist colony would let him, every time he receives wood or clay, not when he produces it or generates it at the end of a round, but if he goes on a space and gets wood or clay, he can choose to get the other one. So he could go to a riverbank grove and get 2 clay instead. And finally, the altruist colony, it would give you an extra space in your warehouse. So not your storage where you can immediately use the stuff, but the warehouse where you can swap things around. So an extra space to put something. And the altruist colony also gives you charity. At the start of every year, you can pick 2 wood or 1 clay. So all of them are really, really useful, amazing things. And they interact with each other as well. One thing that just springs to mind right now is, if you had established relations with the altruist and the alchemist colony, you could pick 2 wood as your charity at the start of the year. But with your conversion from the alchemist, you could choose to take it as 2 clay instead. So normally you could only get 1 clay from this, but with these together, you could get 2 clay. And there's all sorts of interactions like that between the colonies. So he's going to pick the Lord colony, which, if you remember, is the one that lets him ignore the action on the space that he's landed on and take either a wood or a clay instead. So this goes into his little community here, and it doesn't need a worker. You see, the thing that usually says you need a worker of this type, well, you don't need anything for an embassy. And in Era 2, he can upgrade that and get some better things. But to do it, he spent 1 tool, 3 wood, and 2 clay, which is pretty much everything he had. So for his second turn, he's going to step on the market and grab 2 wood. And finally, he's going to go to the librarian, which gains him a money right now, and money is points. And the money and the tools go in the toolbox here, and there's no storage limit on that. He also gets to draw 2 improvement cards from this Era 1 deck here. And let's see what he's got. So he's got a building contract. I won't say nay to more clay. So he could build a hollow, which hasn't actually come out yet. This is a building that will generate 1 clay at the end of every year. And it's, I believe, the same cost as the tile that's going to come out later to let you build a hollow. But you can do it once, just from using this card. The other one is just get 3 clay with a wooden shovel. So he's got these one-use cards here. He hasn't actually got any improvements, but he's got these one-use cards. He can play them by going to the developer later, and he'll also get 2 tools for playing a card as well. So that was Marty's 3 things. He went to the diplomat, the market, and the librarian. So it's the end of the year, so let's look at what happens here. New starting player, if applicable. So if Marty had gone to the head official over here, then the first player would change hands, but he didn't. You may redistribute your workers. Now this is where you can remove workers from buildings. You might want to do this to be able to demolish a building, to be able to upgrade the residences, because to upgrade a farm into a flat, for example, which can house the yellow citizens, the farmer needs to be at home for you to do that. So the farmer goes away and a citizen comes there instead. So you might want to bring somebody back now so that you can upgrade the residents. Also, when we get onto the citizens being employed, they're going to need food at the end of every round. The farmers are okay, they can look after themselves, but the citizens need food. And if you can't afford that, then this is your chance to bring them back, and they won't need to be fed if they're not working. But this is the only time you can choose to bring people back. So if you didn't bring people back and you wanted to upgrade a farm into a flat, it's tough luck. Your chance is now when you can redistribute workers. In this case, neither of us care about it because farmers don't need any food. Now we have the sustenance phase, and this is irrelevant at the moment because these guys don't need to be fed and neither of us produce any food. This is where we would work out our demand. Finally, the production phase, and this is going to be quite quick because nobody has built any production buildings. So the only one we have is the smithy. You see this arrow here is the production. So the smithy produces 3 tools each. I skipped the first step though of the end of the year. The starting player puts these new tiles out. And this can be important because I can place tiles that I want right next to me so that I could use them. I think I'm going to place this joiner over here so you can get to it from a market. I will place the clay delve next to this market so I can easily get to it. And finally the builder, where do I want that to go? Well, we don't know where the brick things are coming in at the moment. Let's put it just here for now. The rule with placement is it has to touch, 2 sides have to touch something. So for the joiner here, I couldn't have placed it here on the market. It has to touch 2 things. So I just decided to put it there. So there we go. Now it's the end of year 1, the start of year 2. So we reveal a new market card. The markets are going to do something different now. So now we can sell wood, 2 wood each for a money, and bricks, which we can't make yet. We can pick sustenance and get a clay and a food, or we can do the building action. We can build a hunting lodge, and you can see here it is the exact same requirements as the hunting lodge out here, but you can do it from a market, but you can only do it once. Okay, now it's my 3 actions. I might get a card by now, but Marty's in the way, so I'm going to forget about that. I'm going to go to the market for my first action and grab a food and a clay. Then I'm going to go to the clay delve to get 2 clay. And finally the riverbank grove to get 2 wood. So this is what my storage is looking like now. It's filling up a bit, but I am planning to go and get a colony next. So it should clear out quite soon. Marty, his first turn is going to be to go to the developer. He gets 2 tools and he gets to play a card. In this case, he is going to play his wooden shovel, which gets discarded, but he gets 3 clay. Then he's going to go to the builder down here and pay 3 tools, 2 wood and a clay. And he's going to build a hunting lodge, which I know we don't need food just yet, but it will be very nice to have later on. And the food can be sold, at various places. So he's going to place this here. He's got his last guy there to work on it. But does he want to send it there? He might not send him there yet, because you see what's coming up. Finally, he's going to go back to the developer, because you can go to places more than once in a turn. The only rule is you can't end your turn where it started. Like, I thought about going back to the librarian, but that's where he started his turn. He couldn't end up there again. So he gets 2 more tools, and he will play the building contract and get a hollow. So 2 tools and 2 clay there, and he has a hollow. Since he only has 1 guy, I think he's going to send him to work in the hollow. So that's 3 turns for Marty. We move on to the winter of year 2. So I'm all loaded up for a colony. I'm going to go to the diplomat. So it's going to cost me a tool, 3 wood, and 2 clay. I'm going to build relations with the alchemist colony. So now, whenever I receive wood or clay, not generate it from buildings, but when I receive it from spaces, I can decide whether it's wood or clay. And I'm going to put this into practice right now, because turn 2 is going to be to go to the riverbank grove and grab 2 wood. And turn 3 is going to be to go to the clay delve, and I will use my alchemist powers to take it as wood instead. So I have quite a little collection there. So Marty wants more people, really. He's run out. I think he is going to go to the librarian again, grab a money and 2 more cards. Let's see what's come out. So he can get a loam hollow. This doesn't need anybody working on it. It's going to generate a clay at the end of every year, or a building contract to build a, oh dear, that shouldn't be in that should be in English. That's a forester's house. He could build 1 forester's house there. So he hasn't got the materials to build those, so he's definitely not going straight back to the developer. He is going to go to the market, and he's going to have to grab a food and a clay. And then finally, he's going to go to this riverbank grove here and grab 2 wood. So it's the end of the year, no new starting player, but I had the new places, which I should have revealed, which might have affected our strategy, actually, thinking about it. That was silly. So, the baker, the grove, and the builder. So the builder is where we can convert farms to flats and get the yellow citizens instead, although we haven't got a building that we could employ them in yet. I think I would like to put this next to the joiner here because it needs planks, so that's a nice place for it. Another grove, that would be nice to put next to this joiner, surely. And then the baker will be good as we start getting citizens. And it's a place to sell food as well, 2 food for a money. Let's put that next to the market as well. Although these spaces next to the market are really filling up now. So that was placing new things, redistribute workers. So Marty could now change his mind and get the hunting lodge instead, but I think he's going to stick with what he's got. The sustenance phase, nobody needs to be fed still, and nobody produces food because nobody's working in Marty's hunting lodge. Production phase, Marty produces a clay from his hollow there, and the clay that is produced goes onto the hollow. This is called the buffer. Now, you can't use things that are in the buffer, so if he wanted to build something that needed 2 clay, he couldn't do that right now. He would have to, as a free action, put it in his storage if he's got space for it. And then he could do the action. But nothing can ever go back into the buffer. Only produced things can go in the buffer. And the size of the buffer is how much of the thing the building produces. I still produce nothing, so nothing happens to me. Oh, we both produced 3 tools though. Always remember that. So that was the end of year 2, start of year 3. So turn a market card face up. So what can we do as a market now? We can either set, oh, there we go, a better exchange rate for food. 1 food for our money there, 2 wood for our money, grab 2 clay, or you can build a storage shed. Marty may well do that. Then we turn 3 place tiles face up. We have a factory there. Now the factory is nice because you can put any type of worker in it. And depending on the type of worker it is, it boosts the production and sustenance buildings by 1. So say Marty built a factory and put a farmer in it, his hollow would produce 2, his hunting lodge would produce 2 if it had a farmer in it. So that can be really powerful. The estate I really want, because it's a shame though, because the thing that lets us convert clay into bricks is in these last 3. It needs 3 wood and a brick to build, but you can turn a farm into an estate. And a farm just has 1 farmer, an estate has 3. So I want some estates because I'm running low on farmers, but my farms are taking up a lot of space. Finally, just another grove is another 2 wood. So my first action is going to be to grab 2 more wood. And now before my second turn, I am going to do some rejigging around here. I'm going to take this food from the warehouse and put it in my storage so it can be used. My second action is going to be to go to the market, and I'm going to sell food. I can sell as much as I want, and the price is 1 money for every food you sell. I'm going to sell 2 food and get 2 money. And then finally, I'm going to go to the forester's house, spend 4 tools, so I've got 2 left, and 6 wood, which is all my wood, pretty much all my resources. I've now got a clay. So I spend 6 wood, but I get 2 forester's houses. And each of these will produce 2 wood, although I have only got 1 worker. So I'm going to have to sort that out. That was my summer. Now what's Marty's plan? He's producing clay, but what's he going to do with it? Okay, so Marty wants more farmers. He can build 2 farms right now because he has 2 wood. So does he want to go to another grove? He could. Wow, he could build a lot. No, he hasn't got the storage space, you see. So this is a shame. Because I was thinking he could go there, grab a wood, then go here, grab 2 more wood, and go here and build a lot of farms, but he hasn't built the storage things yet. Maybe he wants to go to the market. Instead of selling food, though, because he's got 2 food that's taking up space, he could build another storage shed with the 2 wood he's got, then get 2 more wood, and then build 2 farms. I think that's what he'll do. So he's going to go here and build a storage shed for a tool and 2 wood. So he's boosted up his capacity there a little bit. He doesn't have anyone to work in it yet though, so he doesn't need to go crazy at grabbing resources. He'll go back to the grove and get that 2 wood back, but then he's going to spend 2 more tools along with the 2 wood, and he's going to get 2 farms. And those farms come with farmers, so he is going to send 1 straight to work in his new storage shed, and 1 might as well go to work in the hunting lodge and generate even more food. So that was summer, winter time, and it's back to me for 3 more turns. Now I could start to get ready for the builder here. I am going to go to the clay delve, and I am going to choose to take 1 wood and 1 clay, because with the alchemist power I can choose what's doing what. Okay, second action, I'm going to go to the riverbank grove, and I am going to grab 2 wood, and that gives me 3 wood, 2 clay, and along with the tool, I'm going to build another embassy. Now there's no limit to the number of embassies you can have. Well, you can have 1 of each type, but you could have 1 of all 4 types if you want to. The rulebook does, I can't remember what exactly it says, but it does kind of dissuade you from just building 4 embassies because you won't have space. I'm going to build the altruist embassy, and then I am going to be able to get some resources as charity at the start of next year. Also, for going with the altruist colony, I get another warehouse space, and this is done quite nicely. You pull this out, it tells you to keep these because, you know, when that colony isn't there, this just stays quite nice. But now I have an extra warehouse space, and it comes with a nice little blank thing there to make sure there's not just a gap in your board. So I have another warehouse space. But on the downside, I didn't build any farms to be able to get another worker in my forester's house. Maybe it will be a good idea when I redistribute workers to take someone temporarily off the storage shed and put them in the forester's house. And Marty would like to just get more wood again and build some more farms, I think, but he can't end up on that farm. He's going to go to the grove and grab 2 wood. Then he's going to do a bit of switcheroo and put this food into his storage rather than his warehouse. Then his next move is going to be to jump to the market here, and he is going to sell that food for a money each. So maybe he could have built another storage shed, but he's going to do this for now. And then finally, he's going to go over to the developer. It's going to get him 2 tools, but he's going to spend 2, so let's do this. It costs him 2 more wood as well, and now he has a forester's house for 1 wood cheaper than it would be to go to the space there. And it was basically it didn't cost him any tools. Sadly though, he has nobody to work in it. So that was 3 actions each. The end of the year is the tiles get put out. So I definitely want to be able to build some farms. Let's put it here so I can just... Should I put it there to jump to it? I'm not sure. Let's put it here, because then it's next to some wood, and maybe I can put the brick place there. I'll put the factory there, because that could be made now. And then, where isn't there really a wood space? Maybe over here? Just in case you get lost down here, there's a wood area. Then we can redistribute workers. I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull someone off the storage shed. And remember, this is the only time you can pull workers out of their jobs. And I'm going to put them in the forester's house instead. Marty is going to do the same again, actually. The same as me. So that there's someone in that forester's house there. Although he has less space than me to be able to be messing around with that. So then we have sustenance, and in the sustenance phase, if you don't have any demand for food, then you produce whatever you would produce. If he had, I think it's because if you have people that require food, then they just eat what's generated. You don't need to store what's generated and then they eat it. They will just take it straight away, so you don't have to worry about the storage space. Whereas if you haven't got enough, you're going to have to pay for it from somewhere or pull the people off their jobs. If you generate more than you need though, it goes into the buffer. Then we have normal production. So I'm going to get 3 tools and 4 wood. Marty on the other hand, he generates 3 tools, so he's up to 9 tools now. And 2 wood and another clay. And there's no space in this buffer. So he now needs to move that clay into his storage. So I'll just move the normal clay in there because there's space. He has 5 storage spaces at the moment. And that is the end of year 3. So let's start year 4. Okay, so turn a market card face up. There we go. We can sell food again. We can sell clay this time, which might be nice for Marty. He has a lot of clay. We can go there to grab 2 wood, or we can build 1 forester's house at the normal rate. Then we reveal 3 place tiles, which is the last 3 place tiles. So we can build a hollow, there's another clay delve, and finally the clay burner. This is how we get bricks, which are required for the estate and the pub at the moment, but a lot more later on in the game. One final thing happens at the start of a year now. I have got a relationship with the altruist colony, so I can have 2 wood or 1 clay. But as I said earlier, because I've got relations with the alchemist as well, I can grab 2 clay if I want. I think I'll just grab 2 wood. Okay then, so my first action, well before my first action actually, I'm going to just quietly slip some wood from my forester's house buffers into my storage so that I've got 4 there. I'm going to go to the builder, which is all of my tools. So that's 4 tools and 4 wood. And I am going to grab 4 more farms, which seems a bit crazy. And it might be in a smaller game actually. I'm probably still thinking in big 4 era mode because you've seen how we get a flat. Where's that now? There. You have to turn a farm into a flat. And later on, when you get the merchants, there's these red guys that I haven't got out of the box because there's just so much stuff in there. You need to turn a flat into a house to get a merchant. So when you get to the very end of the game and you want these better and better things, we found ourselves having to go back to the farm and build farms in Era 4. We had to go, or 3 maybe, we had to go all the way back and build farms and then go and build flats and then go and build these houses. But that's just because we didn't really know what was coming. Now I know what's coming, I want to get ready for it. Although I don't think I'm going to play a 4 era game. This is already getting quite long. And I will send one of these farmers straight to the empty storage shed. So my second action will be to go to the market and I will grab 2 wood. And then I'm going to go to the librarian, grab a money, and my first 2 cards. Okay, I've got the holiday flat. It costs a tool, a wood, and a plank to build. It's worth 2 points at the end of the game, and it is a residence for a citizen. I can't ever do anything to this, but it's a place off the board where a citizen can come from. And also the Beaver's Lodge, which is a production improvement. It just produces a wood without needing a worker. It costs me a tool and 2 wood to build it, but I may well get that. So that's my 3 actions. Now what's Marty going to do? What is his plan? Well, sadly, he is in a good place here to go. He could go here, grab 2 wood, grab 2 more wood and build the factory. He has all of the resources, but he doesn't have the storage space because there is no one working in this place. He needs 6 storage spaces. He has 5 at the moment, unfortunately. So he is going to jump to a market and grab 2 wood there. He's going to go to the farm here, and the builder, and build 2 farms. So it costs him 2 tools and his 2 wood. And he has 2 more farmers. One is going into the storage shed. And for his 3rd turn, he's going to jump over to this market here, I think, and he can grab 2 more wood. And I think he's going to go and get a factory next turn. So that was the end of summer. Winter now. Now I would love to just race ahead and build the factory myself first, but I have left myself with absolutely no tools. So for my first action, I'll go to the developer and grab some tools. I can get 2 tools there, but I have to play a card. So the Beaver's Lodge is probably better. Well, I haven't got planks, so yeah, it'll have to be the Beaver's Lodge. I will spend a tool and my 2 wood. And now that's going to produce a wood for me, and I've got another point, so that's okay. I think with my second action, I'm just going to get some more cards. So another money, and then over at the developer, I get 2 more tools. Oh no, I have to... Let's see what the cards are first before I decide to jump back to the developer. They might be rubbish. Planks or an anvil is a way to get tools. So yes, I'm going back to the developer. I get 2 more tools, and I'm spending this card here using the wood saw. Quality isn't half of what it used to be. Your new saw lasted for a couple of planks. And we can move on to grabbing some level 2 goods. So now I can start making flats. I could anyway, I could go to the joiner, but I've just got 2 planks for free. So it's Marty's winter. He doesn't actually even need to go to the grove. I've just noticed that he's got stuff in the buffer still for the forester's house, so he'll move that to his storage shed. He'll move the clay from his hollow buffer to the storage shed. So now he has 3 tools and 3 wood and 3 clay and 3 tools. So he is going to zip to the builder and spend everything I just mentioned to get a factory. And as you can see here, any type of work can go here, and depending on the worker you put there is which one it will boost. So he is going to put his last remaining farmer in there. So now this forester's house is going to make 3 wood, the hollow is going to make 2 clay, and the lodge is going to make 2 food, which is very nice. And that was only his first action. So what else is he going to do? I think his second turn, he's going to go to this grove, grab 2 wood, and finally he's going to go here, because he's got a sneaking suspicion I'm going to put the clay burner up there. At the market, so what does he want to do? He could sell his food for a money, and therefore a point, or does he want more wood? He'll get wood. Because then he's still got storage space for the things that are still in his buffers. Yeah, he'll be okay. And that was 3 actions. That's the end of year 4. So, new starting player, nope. Starting player adds new places. And what do you know, I am putting that there, but I'm going to be able to get to it first. Then the other clay delve might as well come down to another place where you might need clay, next to the hunting lodge. See, I don't produce food, so later that's going to hurt me. And then the hollow, let's put that next to the place that you can get clay from. You see, this is getting to be a very inconvenient place for grabbing stuff. I think I'm going to put it there, and then maybe we can have the other market there, because there's another market, spoilers, coming in the future. Redistribute your workers, nobody needs to do that. Sustenance phase. Now this only matters for Marty. He produces 2 food because he's got that factory boosting the production of this hunting lodge. It can fit 2 in its buffer now, but it already had 1 in it, so that had to go into the storage. It can go in his warehouse, of course. Then the hollow produces 2 clay, and the forester's house produces 3 wood. So the wood that's there has to go into storage, and he gets 3 new wood. And let's not forget about the 3 tools that he's supposed to get. And as for me, I get 3 tools and 4 wood. So, on to the final year of Era 1. So we can sell clay, or planks are worth 2 each. I could just go and sell my planks. You can go to the middle part and get a food and a wood, or you can spend a tool and a wood to get just the 1 farm. Which Marty could do, he's run out of people. So I have my charity. I am going to grab 2 clay, and my first turn is going to be to jump to the market. I am going to sell these planks. We can make more later. So that's 4 money. Then I'm going to go to this clay delve, grab 2 more clay. And before I go, so I've now got enough to make 2 bricks. So I'm going to need, oh dear, I can make 2 bricks now. But I'm not going to have enough wood. If I spend 2 wood to make the 2 clay, I'm not going to have 3 wood to be able to build the estate. So let's just make the 1 brick for now. So the third action is going to be come on here, and I will spend a wood and 2 clay, which means potentially I could have, when I went to the market, I could have sold the 2 clay for a point each. I'll generate more later. Yeah, let's just get rid. Let's just sell like crazy. So you can do all of the sale things. So that's the end of my 3 actions. I did some selling at the market, grabbed some clay, and now all I have in my possession is 1 measly brick. So that was my half year. I sold some things at the market. I went to the clay delve, and then I went to the clay burner to turn it into a brick. And I still have a bit of wood in the buffer to be able to go to the builder later. Marty, though, may be able to get there before me. Does he want to do that? In our games, we have never paid the fee, partly because we're kind of off on doing our own things and we never really get in each other's way in our 2-player games, but also because Rachel specifically has an absolute refusal. Even if she desperately needed that space, she has an absolute refusal to pay me any of her resources for it. So I think Marty could do it though. So he would grab some clay, although he doesn't have space, is the only thing. He's got a lot of wood, and he needs to get rid of it. Maybe he just takes a little detour, builds a forester's house first instead, and then he goes and builds some estates. Yes, he's going to bring a wood out of his buffer, so he's now got 6 wood, and he is going to go to the builder and get 2 more forester's houses. So that's 4 tools and 6 wood, and he is going to be producing things like crazy, although he is going to need to be spending some of that stuff. On the downside though, he now needs farms. But actually he doesn't need farms, because he's about to go and get some estates. I don't think he can get 2 estates in one go, unfortunately. He's going to have not now he's spent all of that wood. Maybe that was a bad idea, because he could have actually maybe built 2 estates in one go. Never mind, he can do it later. Spending too much time thinking about this. It's just an example of a game. So he's done one thing. I think actually he should have gone in a different direction. This doesn't change anything he did, but he first went to the librarian, then the builder. So he's got an extra money, and he's got 2 cards now. Because this could decide whether he's going to... So you no longer have to pay tools or sustenance when paying the fee. But if he upgrades the Lord Colony to level 2, he doesn't have to pay the fee anyway. And then a building contract, he can build 2 farms for 1 wood each. What? Wood and nothing else? Yes, but if he goes and does that, he's not going to be able to get estates by the end of the year, and then he's not going to be able to produce all of this wood. So he has to keep his eye on the prize. I think he is going to go to the pub and use his Lord Colony to ignore the action and grab a wood instead. Because now, let's move it all out of the buffer ready. Oh dear, it's not good enough. Oh, actually, so instead of going to the clay, so he can go to the clay delve, but he'll ignore it and get the wood he needs. He needs 1 more wood, and then he can get the stuff. This doesn't seem very efficient at all now. Anyway, we are into winter of year 5. We nearly made it through. Okay, so I have a lot of people doing nothing. What's my plan? Get more people doing nothing. So I now have a brick. I have 3 wood in the buffers, but there's plenty of space for it to be in the storage. So first action is going to be spend a tool and all of this stuff to turn a farm into an estate. And this is an action where you don't need the farmer to be at home. If you were turning it into a flat, the farmer would need to be at home, and he goes away, and a citizen gets put in his place. But you don't need to when you are turning a farm into an estate. I just get 2 more workers now. So I'm really set up for workers, but let's move this guy down there. So what else would I like to build? I don't want to build more farms. I think I keep doing this and not actually doing things with resources, but I'm going to go there and get 2 clay, but I'm going to go to the market and sell it right away for 2 more coins. So I am going heavy into just selling everything that I make, whereas Marty is going to go crazy on production now, but he has more turns before that happens. But his turn's already been worked out. He's going to go there and ignore the action, take a wood instead, using his Lord Colony's ability. Then he is going to go to the clay burner, exchange 1 wood and 2 clay for a brick. And finally, he is going to go to the builder, spend a tool and 3 wood and a brick. And he is also going to turn a farm into an estate. But he needs it a lot more than me. I probably should have done something different. It seems Marty is doing what I would normally do, really building up production. But it seems I've got a lot of people. But later on, these will become flats and things, so he'll be okay. We're setting ourselves up for the future. So Marty gets 2 new farmers in his estate. They are being put straight to work in the forester's house. So that was a quick winter for Marty. End of a year. Starting player adds new places. Nope. Redistribute your workers. We don't need to do that. Sustenance only matters for Marty. Let's put 1 in his warehouse because he doesn't need the food. he produces 2 more food, and he produces 2 clay, and 2, 4, 6, plus 1 for each place because it's got a farm working in it. He produces 9 wood. Wow, that is a lot of resources. And that is, oh, he gets 3 tools. I get 3 tools, and I produce 4 wood. So I need to get in gear here. So that is the end of Era 1. If we had to score right now, it's not a very good example because I'm kind of building to another era. So if we had to score right now, you would count all of your different things. Let's just quickly work it out. So I would get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 25, and then 2 for each employed worker, 27, 29, 31, 33, 35, 40, 43, 47. Oh, actually, I produce a wood there. How long have I been forgetting that? 48. 48 points I'd get right now. Marty, on the other hand, would have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 20, 22, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 46, 48, 51. I can't remember what I said for myself, but I think I had 48, 51. I think, maybe? I can't remember. But it's close either way, because I am not really set up for employment, which is what the game's all about, really. You want to get everybody employed. But also, I have sold a ton of stuff so far, so maybe that's why I haven't got so much built. But I'm not stopping there. I'm feeling a bit crazy, and I'm going to go on for another era. So if you would like to see more colonists, and the gameplay is the same. It's going to be moving around this board, getting resources, building things, but the game changes up. The game gets shaken up every era. Like, this is nothing compared to the things that you will be doing in Era 2. It's all very insignificant kind of building. You saw the first turn is just, I'll build 1 of this and then I'll get 2 resources and do this. Now we are kind of set up to be doing things. I've got more colony powers, Marty's got more production, and if you'd like to see how that goes, you can click the link up there. If you'd like to know what I think about the colonists, then you can click another link, probably the same place. But thank you very much for watching, and I will see you for the next video. Bye!